Hello everybody and welcome back to the Team Cosmic Bodies YouTube channel. I'm Coach Kyle, and today we're going to be talking about nutrient timing, a little bit of pre and post workout nutrition. And again, go back to my video about mastering the basics. Make sure you got the basics down, staying hydrated, getting enough calories in, getting enough protein in, sleeping and training hard and efficiently and smart before getting into like these minor details of nutrient timing. But I'm gonna do a little bit of a basic video about this real quick. So there's just so much info about there, and everyone has, there's the research, there's the anecdotal stuff of what I've seen with my athletes and experiences within ourselves. But here are the basics. I would personally eat even amount of protein at each meal, okay? So that's a preference on you. Do you wanna have 6 meals a day? Do you wanna have 2 or 3 meals a day? I think around 3 or 4 meals a day works best, but again, it definitely depends on your preference and the context and what you need individually. But 3 to 5 meals would be kind of a good place to start. And you would break down the amount of protein you're eating in an entire day and just eat even protein feedings throughout the day. And that's gonna keep your muscle protein synthesis engaged and keep that recovery going. So when you wake up in the morning, have a protein feeding and your meal and get on with your day. But I will give some examples about it. So that's kind of the main thing about the protein and nutrient timing. I feel like that is the most important thing when it comes to nutrient timing. Having that muscle protein synthesis spiked and kind of having it more even throughout the day, I think that is huge. Then when you're getting into the next part of nutrient timing, because in the end, calories matter the most, right? How many calories are you eating a day? How much protein are you eating a day for your goal? That's what matters most. But if you want to get into nutrient timing, even protein throughout the day at each meal. And the next thing would be pre and post workout nutrition. So I like to put carbs around my training, pre and post workout. But this depends on people, depends on people. So some people can handle more food than others. So, and types of food. Like if you work well with oatmeal, you can have oatmeal in your pre-workout meal. But if oatmeal sits in your body and you just feel sluggish, then maybe you shouldn't be eating oatmeal and you should be eating rice or something like that. I like to have multiple transportable carbs in my pre-workout meal, and I don't like to have a lot of fat. So I'm not gonna tell you to eat a big steak and eat a big potato and add a bunch of butter on it, and it'll just sit in you and then you can't use it. So I like to have, easy digestible protein, whether that's looking like egg whites or whey protein for you. But easy digestible protein kind of spikes your protein synthesis up, and that helps you stay anabolic and not go catabolic. And so having some easy digestible protein, some easy digestible carbs, like a rice, and sometimes I like to have multiple transportable carbs. So you have some like simple sugars, like maybe some fruit, raisins or blueberries. You have some fruit in there, and that's gonna hit you a lot quicker, and that's gonna be immediate energy because it's simple sugars. And then also having a little bit of starch, whether that's oatmeal, whether that's rice. So again, multiple transportable carbs, and that keeps your glycemic index, higher. And, I'm okay with you having a little bit of fiber and a little bit of fat, maybe 10 grams of fat, a little bit of fiber, that's fine. But again, you just don't want to overdo it because then you're sitting there, training with all this stuff and it's not like haven't digested. So I guess a good example would be having, some oatmeal or like rice cereal, and you have a little bit of whey protein with it, and maybe you add in some raisins or blueberries, and that's like easy digestible, multiple transportable carbs, and maybe you do that 40 minutes or an hour and a half before you go train. And then I really do like having, and what those numbers could be, it could be 30 or 40 grams of protein for a male, 20 to 30 grams of protein for a female. Carbs, I don't like to overdo it, but maybe from 20 to 50 grams of carbs for that pre-workout meal. This could look different for a lot of different people. I don't think you need a lot of food for your pre-workout meal, but a little bit goes a long way. And again, I don't think fat should be super high. So 10 grams of fat would be perfect for a pre-workout meal. Kind of slows the digestion down a little bit, but not a lot. Intra-carbs, again, some of this is a preference, but if you are training hard, like in your off season or something like that, and it's longer sessions, so you're doing a lot of volume, and you can be in prep too, but a lot of volume, it's a harder session. So if you're just doing a powerlifting thing, you probably don't need intra-carbs, but if you're doing a lot of reps and you work hard in the gym, I do think intra-carbs can be beneficial. I even think essential amino acids or BCAAs can be beneficial. I think essential amino acids are better than BCAAs. Or maybe even just doing a half a scoop of whey protein if you can handle it in your stomach. You can get unflavored whey protein, do half a scoop, and that'll be even more beneficial than EAAs and BCAAs. And so, yeah, that's what intra nutrition would look like if you're a candidate for it and you like it, it's your preference, and you train super hard with a lot of volume. Do half a scoop of unflavored whey protein or some essential amino acids and some intra-carbs. So that could be, I like using fast-acting carbohydrates. I mean, you can use gummy worms or like dextrose or something like that, but obviously dextrose would work quicker than those gummy worms. But even more so, just using like, blanking on the name, it's because it's a big word, cluster dextrin, and that is going to be immediate. It's expensive carbohydrate, and it's going to hit you the fastest and replenish glycogen stores quickest. But we're just talking about 10 minutes here. I mean, it's not like do or die in my eyes. But yeah, you can do from 7 or 10 grams of carbs up to like 30 or 40 grams of carbs for certain people that are heavier. I think intra-carbs can help with recovery, it can help with performance. Again, it's a little bit of a preference and it depends who you talk to, but those are my thoughts on intra-carbs and intra-nutrition in general. And then post-workout, if you did intra-carbs and intra-nutrition, I don't think post-workout is like a do or die. You don't need to like necessarily have that whey protein the second you leave the gym. While you're in the gym, I need to get my whey protein and fast-acting carbs in right away. But you can go home, relax, have your meal, that's fine. But if you are fasted and if you haven't had the intra-nutrition, then you do kind of want to have that post-workout nutrition like happen pretty quick. And again, I would have fast acting easy digestible protein, so something like a whey isolate, and simple carbs to help replenish glycogen stores. And you can have fat post-workout. I think that's fine. I think that was kind of a myth. People thought that you didn't have to do like, you can't have fat post-workout because it won't digest as quick. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but I would have some fast digesting protein if you can. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition. I guess an example would be real quick. You wake up in the morning. I'll do 2 examples real quick. So the first one is you like to train fasted in the morning. First off, I don't think you should. I think you should try to get food in if you can. Get in some whey protein and some quick carbs if you can. It doesn't have to be a lot, but a little bit is better than none. So if you have to do fasted and you like to do fasted, that's fine. But if you can, have some food. If you like to train in the morning, have some food if you can. Some quick whey protein and a little bit of carbohydrates. Again, a little bit is better than none. And if you do work out fasted in the morning, try to have that post-workout meal as quickly as you can after. Another example is, let's say you work out in the middle of the day or later in the day. What I like to do is you wake up, you have some protein, you have some fat, and you try to minimize your carbs. That's your meal 1. Your meal 2 would be protein, a lot more carbohydrates, and a little bit less fat. Post-workout meal 3 would be protein, more carbohydrates, and a little bit of fat. And then you could have your 4th meal at the end of the day being just the leftover carbs you need, the rest of your fat, and a protein feeding. So I'll leave that there, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you like these videos.